Hello dear followers, hope you're doing fine. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this new video. Today we're going to speak about the initial situation. What is the initial situation and what does it include? First, I want to give you a short explanation of the initial situation. I try to simplify it as much as possible. It is a paragraph in which you present a problem-solving situation. I said paragraph because it should be prepared and presented as a paragraph. It represents a problem-solving situation. It's not a real problem. ماشي مشكلة. It's that when you present it to your pupils, you should make them bear in mind that they have a problem to be solved at the end of the sequence. And it's up to them to solve this problem. It is considered as an introduction of the sequence. I personally call it an introduction because it contains the topic of the sequence and it includes the keywords, the most important words that the learners are going to meet during the sequence. The pupils are asked to solve the problematic at the end of the sequence. Because when you present the paragraph and you present the topic which is going to be new for them, they won't be able to write anything. They won't be able to understand 100% of what we are saying. Why? Because they don't have enough background. They don't have enough vocabulary. They haven't received any structural input from the teacher, so they won't be able to write anything about this problem. But at the end of the sequence, after dealing with grammar, after dealing with listenings, after acquiring vocabulary, are able to write something. So when will you solve this problem, or when will your pupils solve this problem? This problem is going to be solved in the lesson of I Learn to Integrate. I will tell you why. So after dealing with all the lessons of the sequence as I just mentioned, the problem-solving situation should be presented with the project announcement. Why? Because the project announcement is the first thing that you should present before dealing with the sequence. Before talking about the sequence, you have to talk about the project. You have to explain to your pupils what is the topic of the project and what should they do. And then, just after the project and after writing the project on their copybooks, you explain to them the initial situation. It's as if you make an introduction for the sequence through the initial situation. It takes 30 minutes, about 30 minutes to be explained and written after the project announcement. It should be written on the pupil's copybook. Why? So that when they revise, they are able to start with a given context, and they're able to understand the sequence, and they are able to get familiar with the sequence. The initial situation is going to make your pupils get familiar with the sequence and with the topic of the sequence. You can make it as a fill-in-the-gaps activity, and I really love this idea of fill-in-the-gaps activity because when my pupils answer this activity correctly, I can say they are ready to tackle the sequence. And of course, the words that should be omitted from the paragraph should not be difficult. In fill-in-the-gap activity, which is somehow easy and doable and feasible, not difficult. So, to understand better, we take an example of the initial situation. This is for MS program sequence 1. So it's the first initial situation of the fourth year English program. Last summer holidays, you went with your foreign friends on an organized trip around Algeria, during which you visited different countries, towns, and historical landmarks. Your English teacher asks you to describe the itinerary. The best one is going to be published on your school's magazine page. So here, as you can see, this is an introduction of the sequence, and at the same time I want you to present this initial situation as a fill-in-the-gaps activity, and you omit easy, obvious words like summer, France, visited, and so on and so forth. The second thing which is important in the initial situation, you mention the context, which is last summer holidays you went. So it's like the learner who went on a trip. And the second thing, which is very important, is that there should be something motivating. The best itinerary paragraph is going to be presented or published on their school's magazine. So this is something motivating. So you make them eager to learn. You make them love the sequence in order to solve the problem at the end. Now, after dealing with all the listenings of the sequence, after listening to people talking about the itinerary, after acquiring vocabulary related to the itinerary, means of transport, types of landmarks, mosques, bridges, towers, stopovers, after acquiring structural patterns like past simple, markers, adjectives, passive voice, now my pupils are ready to write about itinerary. When are they going to be ready to write about itinerary? In the lesson of I Learned to Integrate. So, thanks to the luggage they got from the whole lessons of the sequence, they are able to write something. And there is a remark here, there should be done in groups. So there should be a group work in I Learned to Integrate lesson. Now, in the instruction or in the situation of I Learned to Integrate, it can be the same as the one of the initial situation, or you can present the situation of I Learned to Integrate in a different way. For example, if you talked about Algeria in the initial situation, you can talk about, for example, another country, about Tunisia or Morocco or a foreign country. It's up to you. You can talk about Algeria, but you change some sentences, you paraphrase some phrases, so you are really free to present it as you like. Just it must be the solution of your initial situation, and you make your learners and you remind your learners that this is the solution of the initial situation. So here, for example, for my case, I didn't change anything. I just kept it as it is, and I just changed some sentences. So you have just come back from a trip around Algeria with a group of friends. You want to post on your Facebook page the report of this trip to make people around the world aware of the cultural and historical richness of your country. Describe your itinerary and talk about the landmarks you visited and the outstanding figures in history, literature, and arts that you learned about during this trip. So here I added historical outstanding figures because I didn't mention it in the initial situation. They have learned about them. They have already seen them in the sequence, so I mentioned them. Here you must add in your instruction using past simple, using markers, using adjectives, using passive voice, and so on and so forth. So here they have something in mind, they have necessary background to produce this output. That's all for today, my dear followers. I hope it was useful. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.